So where does the tablet go from here? Now, among the many things that people think it's going to do is save journalism. That was, there's a lot of stories about you going to visit publishers and talking about it being the hope of journalism. Do you consider that a goal of yours or anything that's important to you? Or is it just that magazines look real pretty on it?
Well, we have a lot of goals with it. But one of my beliefs very strongly is that any democracy depends on a free, healthy press. And so when I think of the most important journalistic endeavors in this country, I think of things like the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and publications like that. And we all know what's happened to the economics of those businesses. Mm-hmm. And some of them are in real trouble. So even more than magazines, I think some of these newspapers the news gathering and editorial organizations are really important. I don't want to see us descend into a nation of bloggers myself. Mm-hmm. I think we need editorial more than ever right now. So anything that we can do to help the New York Times and the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, and other news gathering organizations find new ways of expression so that they can afford to get paid, so they can afford to keep their news gathering and editorial operations intact, I'm all for.
Do you actually think it'll work? I mean, is this something that you think are you thinking people will move to reading? Have you moved yourself?
Well, we've all moved to reading our news on the web. That's why these newspapers are in dire straits. And what we have to do is figure out a way to get people to start paying for this hard-earned content. And so this provides us a potential opportunity to provide them even more value than just a web page and to start to charge a little bit for that. Now, what I preach is that I don't know what's going to work, but I can tell you, as one of the largest sellers of content on the internet to date, the biggest lesson Apple's learned is price it aggressively and go for volume. And that's worked for us. And every time we haven't done that as much, we've seen more attenuated success. So I'm trying to get these folks to take more aggressive postures than what they charge traditionally for print, because they don't have the expenses of printing, they don't have the expenses of delivery, and to charge a reasonable price and go for volume. Because I think people are willing to pay for content. Right. I've believed it in music, I believe it in media, and I believe it in news content.